Welcome into CBS Sports HQ, presented by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Make every moment more. We're going to give you more picks today. Chris Hassel, Amanda Garrett, Kyle Long, Pete Prisco. Glad to be with you to get your picks. Kyle came in here just firing, saying he is doing so well.
I was excited to see how we did as a package, because we don't see each other's picks, and then we always end up doing pretty good.
I think we did okay last week. I think I got my best bet right finally, which is a good thing.
You should see Kyle when he's giving his picks to producer Jack. He's like, yeah, I'll take the Saints. Yeah, give me the Bears. Oh, what I got to think long and hard about my top pick, though, my expert pick, my lock, because that's the one people are really following.
Do you get more points for that?
I just think you get more credit
brownie
from the
points.
Streets.
Bears-Cowboys, the two teams on a bye this week, so only missing one game from the slate. It'll start with Broncos and Saints. It'll finish with a Super Bowl rematch, Chiefs and 49ers. And let's see how you guys did. You haven't looked, but you felt like you did pretty well. Pete, 9-6.
Look at
oh,
you.
my word.
Look at that, man.
12-3.
The train rolls on, baby.
Oh, my God. You know what? You're due for a derailment.
Yeah, it was a tough week. The picks this week are hard.
Call all the services. He's going to be derailed this week.
How much time do you put into this research?
I kind of just go off of my gut feeling.
Vibe. You're a vibing guy.
When you're around football long enough, it's hard to pick games, but it's not as hard as some people make it out to be. I mean,
so you're saying if you're around football long enough, that would mean that Pete should be like the greatest picker of all time, because he's been covering the league for 40 years.
I put too much thought into it.
Too much
Way
thought.
Too much thought.
He watches too much tape, puts too much thought into it.
And too much back-to-back road games and everything
Oh, yeah,
else.
you love that. Back-to-back travel in time zones, all that crap. Let's start with Thursday Night Football. It's the Broncos and the Saints, a couple of rookie quarterbacks. Spencer Rattler likely to get another start, but we do have Derek Carr up there on the board. We don't know at this point, but no matter who it is, might not have the top two receivers there for New Orleans, Olave and Shaheed.
I mean, it's going to be fun to see whether it's Spencer Rattler, to see if this offense can look the way it did early with him out there. And obviously for Sean Payton's group, it's going to be, how are you going to defend both of these quarterbacks? And without Olave, they know it's going to be a lot of Shaheed. I want to see the Saints run the football. That's really what it comes down to. Can the Saints take the pressure off their quarterback? Don't turn the football over. You know Bo Nix isn't going to throw it all over the field for the Broncos. So try to find a way to establish that ground game, take the pressure off them. And when you do get a shot with your quarterback, take it down the field. Make them pay for it, Saints.
It's a revenge game for Peyton.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, it's a revenge game.
But you said that's not real.
Revenge?
Well, it might be. Well, it could be.
It's real to Sean Payton.
Yeah,
you know
okay,
what, Sean, the way he is?
Yeah, I was about to say yes.
He's going to make it a revenge game. And look, it doesn't matter. I think that is a tough place to play. You know that. It's a brutal place to play. It's an even tougher place to play on a short week.
Yep.
And you got to go out and play there on a short week. I think whether it's Rattler or Carr, whoever it is, that's a good defense he's facing. And the Saints defense was terrible last week. They were gashed in the run game. The problem is the Broncos don't run it that well. So I think that the Saints will regroup here, find a way, they cover the number.
You talk about rookie quarterbacks. Drake May, last weekend getting thrown in the mix for the Patriots here. Fun fact about last weekend, these rookie quarterbacks this class set a historic number for the most touchdowns thrown by a rookie class in one season. It was 12 total. Drake May getting his first start for the Pats. Had 3 of them, though. You guys are on opposite sides of this game when it comes to picking it. Pete, we'll start with you.
Well, and Drake May should have been playing the entire year. I think the Patriots, that was evident last week. He can throw the ball down the field when he does get time, and I think he's going to be a good quarterback. He is playing a JV team this week, particularly in the secondary. I mean, they're 32nd.
You're saying this about your team?
They're 32nd in the league in pass defense. That's why Caleb Williams threw 4 of those touchdown passes last week. I don't think May will have the same success. There is so much going on with Jacksonville right now. If they don't win this game, and I think they will, and I think they'll cover the number. I think Trevor Lawrence will outplay Drake May. If they don't win this game, there's a lot of rumbling that maybe there could be a coaching change. I don't think it will happen right away, but I think they find a way to regroup and win this game and cover the number.
I think the Patriots have been obviously really limited with what they can do in terms of getting the football down the field with Jacoby Brissett. What we saw from Drake May, obviously the offense, they can get to a couple new pages in that playbook with Drake May being able to stretch the defense. Obviously, his athleticism, ability to run the football, difficulty to bring this guy down. It presents a lot of issues for the defense. 5.5 points. That's a lot of points there, Pete. I'm going to take the Patriots. I think Drake May gets his first win in the National Football League this week.
Don't we feel sorry for the fans in England for having to sit through this one?
Always have to watch the Jags.
But
Nobody's
not just
played
the
there
Jags,
more than the Jags. It's
you
true.
play the
But do they
Patriots.
show up knowing what they're watching? Like, do they have fans?
Yeah, they become.
You got to think the people over there, they can't stand the Patriots. They got some history there. The Patriots.
I did think it'd be really funny if there's some costumes involved this weekend.
Wow, you went there, huh?
It's history, Pete.
True, though.
Real life history. We have 2 Monday night games. Let's do the Sunday night game first before we pick those. This is interesting here because the Jets, after the trade, Aaron Rodgers gets his guy back, and the Steelers guys might be going with Russell Wilson for the first time.
Yeah, with Russell Wilson out there, I'm not quite sure what the offense looks like. I don't agree with it. I say you keep Justin Fields out there. He gives you the best chance if the play breaks down. Obviously, a lot of their offenses come when things are off schedule, and Justin Fields makes it happen with his legs. He's obviously got a really big arm. We just don't know what this year's Russell Wilson will look like. And the last few times we've seen him out there, it has not been really good. And also, I think about the Steelers. They're not doing a good job. Yeah, they're not doing a great job getting after the pass rusher outside of the guy T.J. Watt. And we've got some injuries up front for the Steelers. Look for that to play its hand, not in their favor. Justin Fields is the guy. That's my opinion.
Well, we know no matter who plays quarterback, we know what the Steelers are. They want to run the ball and play good defense. So, to me, I'm with you. I'd stick with Justin Fields. I think he should be the long-term answer until he has a really bad game, and he hasn't had one yet. He hasn't been great, but he hasn't had
any
really
great games either. Yeah,
but he has had a really bad game. I think this is about the Jets. I think the other night we saw them get run on and run on and run on, and I think they're going to kind of bow up now the way things are. I think they'll play better in the run game. I think they'll slow the Steelers' run game down, and they'll be able to throw the football against them. I do like the Jets in this game.
If they get spanked, how bad is that for the Jets? Where is your panic meter on this team? You're bringing Devontae Adams.
They're not getting spanked.
No, I don't think they will either.
But what if they do?
Well, you see?
What if they do? Then it's big-time cause for alarm. And if number 8 doesn't play better, then there's going to be some real concern.
He's just going over number 8 now. I'm
Jets.
Aaron
I got the
Rodgers.
Jets, too.
Well, General Manager Aaron Rodgers.
That is very true. General Manager Aaron Rodgers. Let's go to the first Monday night game. I absolutely love this game. We have the Ravens going up against the Bucs. Again, you guys on our opposite sides of this. And I will say, for as much as I love this guy over here, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson's looking like an MVP again.
Is there anybody in the National Football League who's doing what Lamar's doing week in, week out, giving his football team a chance to win? And I know they went and put 51 up last week, the Buccaneers, but this is the Baltimore Ravens. And there have been some questions about their pass defense, but the run defense is really solid in Baltimore. And what was the X factor for the Bucs last week? They ran the hell out of the football. So I look for the Ravens to challenge that running game at the line of scrimmage, make Baker go out and beat you.
You're taking the Ravens?
I'm taking the Ravens.
I'm on the other side. I just think when you're the home team, it matters in a game like this. And not only that, you mentioned the pass defense. They've been giving up a bunch of big plays on the back end. I think Baker, you're right, they ran it last week, and they didn't even have Rachaad White, which is not good for Rachaad White, by the way, because both backs really ran and they were physical.
He can stay on the bench.
They were physical last week. I do think they will run the ball, and I think they're going to hit some shots down the field. I like the Bucs here. I think
to cover or to
win
out?
I got the Ravens making a big play on the football, stealing a possession, Baker Mayfield turnover in the latter part of this football game.
By the way, Lamar Jackson right now is the MVP, and he has improved as a passer. They loaded up the box last week, and he just dominated by throwing the football.
That one's at 8:15. There's a late Monday night game, 9 p.m. Eastern time, because it's on the West Coast. It's the Chargers, a slight road favorite in Arizona against the Cardinals. Chargers so far have the best scoring D in the league.
Yeah, scoring D, but also it was that offense that went out last week. They threw the football all over the yard. That was really exciting to see for Justin Herbert. He was dinged up early in the season. They had some injuries on the offensive line. They're coming back around. We're going to really find out what the identity of this Chargers football team is. They beat you up on defense. We'll see that line of scrimmage. The Chargers are going to beat that up too. I got the Chargers over the Cardinals.
I'm with you. This is a physical team, and they play physical on both sides of the ball. And I think the defense is ahead of where everybody thought it would be. I mean, Jesse Minter has come in there and done a really nice job with the defense. And I thought there would be some problems kind of how they would use Justin Herbert, because you know what Harbaugh wants to do. He wants to run the ball. Greg Roman always wanted to run the ball when he was in Baltimore. and yet they went and threw it last week. And that's a good sign, at least from my standpoint, because he has to be able to throw the football. I think they will do both in this game. I'm with you. I like the Chargers as well.
Pete Prisco, Kyle Long, going to stick around. We're only halfway through our picks here. Pushing the pile. Pete, what day of the week are you on?
Tuesday.
That was yesterday?
That ain't today.
That ain't today. Today's Wednesday. Monday was a holiday, though. How did that episode go? I haven't listened.
We had Ligier on there, as we do every Wednesday. It was a lot of fun, just talking about all the news. Well,
yeah, she doesn't care
power
about
rankings. We got to make fun of Pete. He made fun of us. Yada, yada. Same old story.
We had our draft that we do every week.
We drafted all-time offense, defense, special teams. It was cool.
And Mike Renner picked special teams before he picked an offense.
That was a special pick.
That has been a long promo for Pushing the Pile. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Make sure to listen
keep going,
to
guys.
the podcast. We can keep going here. Coming up on the other side, we're going to continue to pick Week 7, including Texans going up against the Packers. Pete Prisco, somebody called this a potential Super Bowl preview. I don't know if I'd go that far, though. Maybe. We'll talk about it on the other side. We are getting your expert picks here on this Wednesday, presented by FanDuel. Taking a look at the games you got coming up this weekend on CBS. Some ugly games and some very intriguing games.
Which one's the ugliest to you?
Which one's the ugliest? I mean, anytime the Titans play, it's not really great.
I don't know. That's Will Levis. That's Pete's the next number.
That's the Will Levis. That's the Will Levis Josh Allen matchup.
Oh, quarterback scales, Pete.
Oh, God. We're going to start, though, with Texans and Packers going up against one another.
Now, that's a good one.
Yeah.
This is a great one here, especially, though, I was looking. I didn't realize how close the NFC North is right now. I mean, there's,
Nobody's
2
losing.
games separating between
They're all
these teams?
elite.
They're all elite.
And
The
they've
Texans,
only had one
though.
game against each other so far.
Yep.
That's the
Yes.
amazing thing. They're going to play each other the whole rest of the way. It's going to be great.
Okay, so give us, the Packers are favored by 2.5 at home, but you got C.J. Stroud coming to town.
Yeah, and the Texans are playing consecutive road games outside the division. Never an easy thing to do. The Packers seem like they found something last week. In other words, they found Jordan Love was healthy. He looked different. He looked like he was confident. He threw the ball all over the place. He got everybody involved. And I think having a healthy Christian Watson's big because he stretches the field, opens things up underneath. I think that'll show up here. I think the Texans will score too, but I do think that Jordan Love outduels C.J. Stroud, so I'm going to take the Packers. By the way, I picked the Packers to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not backing away from that.
So no Nico Collins. That Houston Texans offense has looked a bit different, but they ran the football effectively last week. One thing I liked about the Green Bay Packers against the Cardinals last week, they did really well against the running game. They also limited plays for Kyler Murray outside the pocket. Look for them to play really, really focused defense against this Houston Texans unit. They know that they're going to lean on the running game. Also, give me the Packers at home, man. Give me the Packers at home. Lambeau Field, one of the hardest places to play. And to your point, Jordan Love looked like the guy that earned all that money last week. Let's see it again.
So who do you have coming out of the AFC then? Who are these Packers going up against in the Super Bowl?
Perfect
there
segue
you
because
go.
we've got the Bills in the next game, the biggest favorite of the week against the Tennessee Titans, 8.5, Pete, after they go out and trade for Amari Cooper.
And that was a great move by them, and they needed to do something. They thought Kincaid would be the ¡1 wide receiver.
So did you.
Tight end. I do. I still do.
That was one of your bold predictions. He was going to catch like 190 balls.
120, and he better get going because he's not going to get there. But I think this is a tough spot for the Buffalo Bills, and the reason being, you're coming off an emotional Monday night game. You win on the road against a division team. You come back, and now you're playing the Titans, who are pretty good on defense. I mean, they've done some good things on defense. I think they'll be able to contain the running game, which we saw the key to that offense last week. And I do think it'll be closer than the number. Will Levis, yes, he hasn't played very well, and he's made some mistakes, but I think he'll make a couple of throws here, and they will run the ball. So I'm going to take the Titans to keep it under the number.
You know, the strength of this Titans team is that defensive group, the front seven. They love to get after the offensive line and make it hard to make hay in the running game or the passing game. But what I saw from Aaron Kromer's group, the Buffalo Bills offensive line, a couple nights ago, was that they can play with anybody. They don't care. They're completely fine putting their hands in the dirt and challenging the defensive front. And I think for this Titans group, if you can run the football and score some touchdowns on the ground early, you could get their heads out of the game really early. And that's why I've got the Bills. I know it's a big number here. What's the number? It's
8.5.
8.5. That's a huge number. Not a big number. That's a huge number. It would take the Bills going out early, scoring on the ground, and blowing this thing open. I could see that happening. Give me the Bills.
You know what's funny? Usually when we make our picks, we know what the number is most of the time.
Kyle doesn't even ask what the number is.
He's
you know what number I do know? My picks number. It's on the board. It's in the intro of this segment every week, Pete.
Those numbers are impressive, believe me.
Pete, is this like, for those who don't know, Pete has 2 cats. They're both boys. Is this like your 2 babies, like going up against one another?
Whoa, Willie
Josh
and
Allen
Joshy.
and Willie.
Willie and Joshy.
Look, I still think Will Levis will end up being a good quarterback. It's just he has to cut down on the dumb mistakes.
Wait, I thought you gave up on him last
haven't given
weekend.
up on him.
I think you
put
did.
Mason
I think
in.
we have the tape.
I'm not giving up on him.
Actually, it wasn't on TV. Producer Jack says in the green room while you were watching the games, no TVs, no microphones around. You said Will Levis done, fraud.
And then I went back and watched it, and there were things he like dropped passes by Ridley, guys not getting open. There are reasons for his minimal numbers last week.
Backtracking Pete.
No, because he's dad. He's dad. He's got to support his boy. Let's go to another game coming up.
If you guys would have done this in year one,
Will Levis needs help.
If you would have done this in year
man.
1 of Josh Allen, now how'd that work out? I was right about that one, so give it some time.
What now?
We will
think
give
Josh
it a little
Allen
bit of
was-
time.
He was
That
pretty
bad.
bad early in his career. He was.
Big arm, not a lot of accuracy. Let's go on to the next game here. We get Bengals going up against the Browns. Browns no more Amari Cooper. The Bengals, and this one favored by 6.5. Most people will take the Bengals to win this game. However, Kyle, this was a tough number for you.
Yeah, tough number, 6.5. But
Oh,
still,
you knew this number.
It's the Cleveland Browns. Me and Amanda were talking about this at the desk before, and I said it's a lot of tough numbers on the docket this week. But I think the Bengals offense can put them where they want to be in this football game. Give me Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Yeah, and I'm not taking Deshaun Watson. They need to bench him. Sit him down. He looks disinterested. He's awful. He throws over guys' heads. He short arms them and hits it into the ground. He just doesn't look like he cares to me. And I think from that standpoint, the other side, the quarterback really cares, and I think they're going to get it going. I'm with you. I'll take the Bengals as well.
All right, let's move on to maybe you look at the team comparison through the first 6 games, the winless Browns in 2017 to this season, and the numbers are in some cases worse. Yikes, that team 0-16 back in 2017.
Was Brady quarterback? Oh, no, that wasn't.
No, that wasn't Brady's fault. Can't pin that on him. Let's go to a matchup between 5-0 and 4-1. It's the 5-0 Vikings, -2.5 at home against the Lions, coming off that pummeling of the Cowboys. Vikings have won every game against the spread so far this season. The only team to do that.
Look, they're coming off a bye. The Lions are off another road game. Bad combination. They're at home, and no Aiden Hutchinson. And that is important for the Lions. I do not know how they're going to rush the passer. They're going to have to manufacture it. The problem is they haven't been great on the back end. Branch has been good, but a lot of those guys have struggled. They've been giving up a lot of big plays in the passing game. I think Darnold to Jefferson's going to win this game, and I think they're going to win it and cover the number and give notice to everybody in the rest of the NFC that they're for real. I really believe that. I think not having Hutchinson really changes the way the Lions will play. I'll take the Vikings.
I'll be interested to see how this Detroit Lions team comes out and how their energy is. We know that the Detroit Lions are a big physical team. They're built to run the football and play smash mouth style of football at the line of scrimmage, but it's tough to do that 2 weeks in a row. I mean, we may have to see a different style of offense from this Lions team, but if Dan Campbell gets these guys, see, like, I'm always fighting with myself between the ears about the Lions team. You can't go out there and be physical the way you were against the Cowboys 2 weeks in a row. But if there is a team that can do it, it's the Detroit Lions. I've got the Lions against the Vikings in this one. It's going to come down to who makes the first turnover on defense, who forces a bad throw, who gets their guy off the spot. Extra possessions will matter.
All I can think of is like rock'em sock'em robots inside
Just
your
don't hit me right here. It'll go boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, it was good. I was thinking like Hungry Hungry Hippos, but that doesn't work.
Hungry Hippos.
But that is an elite game. Let's go to another one. We have a divisional matchup in the NFC East. The Eagles on the road going up against the Giants. If I'm the Giants fan, I'm going after one person. That's Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
As close as I can get to the field, and I'm just going after him. But the Eagles, look, they are coming off a win. They are favored by 3 in this game, Pete.
By the way, I grew up a Giants fan. If I was sitting in that crowd, it would have been brutal for Nick Sirianni. I can tell you that. I used to be a good heckler back in the day when I'd go to
Still are.
Yeah, you got to keep everybody honest, Nick
say you're an
Sirianni
elite
has to
heckler.
quit paying attention to all that stuff and just coach. Because his team isn't very good right now. This is one of the more, the record isn't bad, but they haven't played to that record. They haven't been very good. It's time for them to pick it up. I just think this is a problem spot for them because I think the Giants are playing good, tough, physical defense. It's hard to block Dexter Lawrence and that front. I think they'll be able to get after Jalen Hurts a little bit, turn the ball over. I don't think the Giants win the game, but I think they cover the number and hang around here.
Yeah, the Giants are a team that's been punching up recently. They've been playing really tough football, giving teams a run for their money. and the Philadelphia Eagles, to your point, it's like, who are these guys? But at the end of the day, it's Lane Johnson, it's that offensive line. I think that's what will get the job done for the Philadelphia Eagles. They will come around. On the Nick Sirianni front, I'm not quite sure what the hell he's doing, but the guys in that locker room, I trust them for the most part. A lot of talent on that offensive side of the ball.
One big injury for the Giants, Andrew Thomas with the Liz Frank injury out for the year. He's their best offensive lineman. That's going to hurt them.
Eagles probably need to win this game to stay close to the Commanders, because Commanders have the Panthers this week. We'll pick that game a little bit later. It is a later afternoon game. Let's go to Seahawks-Falcons. Two teams going opposite directions here. Falcons on a 3-game winning streak. Seahawks have lost 3 straight.
This game is going to be fun to watch because this is going to get really loose. It's going to be high scoring. I don't think either defense is very good. When you look at Seattle, they've been giving up a lot of points, a lot of big plays. They've had a lot of injuries, but they're still banged up, and I think they're going to have problems stopping this offense. And on the other side, the Falcons haven't been great on defense either. They've given up a lot of big plays. In the end, I think being at home, long trip for Seattle, I think Atlanta will find a way to cover.
Yeah, I'm on board with Pete. It's a tough spot for the Seahawks to go across the country, really, and you're going against that offense. You have to be essentially perfect if you're the Seahawks on offense, because we know the Falcons can score at will a number of different ways. Give me Atlanta at home in this one.
Also, Dolphins at Colts. I'm interested in this. The Colts are favored by 3 because Anthony Richardson is expected to get the start. I told my friends here at work that I would be active in our fantasy football league.
You won your first 3 games.
I did, and then I stopped paying attention, and Anthony Richardson got hurt, and he's still sitting there as my starting quarterback. So this is going to be great news for me, though, Pete. What do you think about picking the game?
Well, he should play, and not because they think he's the better option to win the games. It's because they got to find out what he is for the long term. Because the reality is Joe Flacco is probably a better option for him right now, but Anthony Richardson needs to play. I think Miami, coming off their bye, they have so many issues. Huntley's going to be the starting quarterback. What did they do? Did they change the offense during the bye? Because he doesn't fit what they were trying to do. I think it's a real tough challenge for him. I think it's a tough challenge for the Dolphins. I'll take the Colts. I think they run the ball to victory, not that Anthony Richardson throws them to victory.
I mean, it's a tough spot for both of these teams because of the quarterback situation. To your point, I would rather have Joe Flacco in there right now. I can just count on him having a reliable performance. For Anthony Richardson, yes, he's explosive. He's electric. There's things he can do down the field that some guys just can't do. He's been touched by Mom, Dad, and God. He can do things with that arm that are incredible, and his legs, but he gets himself in trouble. We can't rely on him to stay healthy. I'm going to pick the Colts. I'm going to pick the Colts. I'm going to pick the Colts. And, you know, I just don't trust the Miami offense right now. To your point, Huntley, even off a bye week with Mike McDaniel being able to tailor this offense to him, I don't think it's enough. Give me the Indianapolis.
I'm just honored. He said I was touched by Mom, Dad, and God.
Well, I was trying to remember, who did Pete touch that one time?
I don't know. Who did you?
I don't remember.
Allegedly.
You touched someone and, like, put the gift into them.
What?
We're going to remember later on.
But I don't know. But he told me I was touched by Mom, Dad, and God. So
it's important.
Yeah.
I can hear producer Jack already clipping this video to save for all time's sake. By the way, this could be the last game the Dolphins play without Tua. He is eligible to come back before the next game. Let's take a look at the Sunday slate on CBS.
There you go.
Highlighted by Texans and Packers in the early window, and Jaden Daniels in the late window taking on the Panthers. We're going to pick that game next. That Commanders-Panthers game, the highest total of the week. We'll see if Pete thinks this one's getting loose.
Expert picks presented by FanDuel. Just like to give you guys some background what we're talking about during commercial breaks, cannonballs and honey badger.
Pete doesn't think a cannonball could kill anyone.
Pete said it doesn't make any sense.
Pete was the guy in the old videos where he would catch the cannonball with his stomach.
My cannonball, if I had a cannonball back in the day, I would have loaded it up with a little explosives or something. So mine would be
this has all been very interesting. We're going to finish up Week 7 Sunday games. We're going to start with the Panthers at the Commanders here. Pete, we know things that you do not like. You do not like football in bad weather. You do not like low-scoring games. So you get everything you want in this game.
Terrible
you
coaching.
Get beautiful weather.
Kickers that don't make their kicks.
And a
I can
high
keep
total.
on going.
But yeah, you got things you like in this game, Pete.
Yeah, I do.
What's your pick in it?
I think there's going to be a lot of offense. I think both defenses have problems. And now Washington is without Jonathan Allen, their defensive tackle. That's an enormous loss for them. He's out for the year. How do you compensate for that? It's hard to. And when you watch Carolina on tape, their offensive line is playing really good football. And I think they'll be able to move the football, but I think Jaden Daniels will be able to light up Carolina's defense. High-scoring game, but I'm going to take Washington.
Yeah, it's too much offense for the Panthers to match, whether it's defensively or with their own offense. Give me the Commanders in this one. Jaden Daniels has just been too darn good. The offense, running and passing the football, they can take pressure off Jaden with the running game, or they can throw it around the yard, whatever they want to do. Give me Jaden Daniels with the Commanders. I like the over, too.
I believe, Pete, and you weren't here yesterday, is still taking the Cowboys to win the division.
Smart.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What?
What?
You still have the Cowboys winning?
That was sarcasm. That was sarcasm.
Oh, we didn't get that.
Yeah, because I don't think any of those other teams are any good either.
Yeah. You don't think Commanders are good? We know what you think of the Eagles.
Commanders have a bad defense. They're going to start asking that kid to do too much. And
Commanders-Giants.
That game is 4:05 Eastern on CBS. If you don't get that one, you might get Raiders-Rams, also 4:05 Eastern on CBS. And, well, you can't put Devontae Adams back there anymore. Not that he's played for the Raiders recently, but now, I mean, this could be the start of a fire sale for Vegas.
He had a bad hammy. Wink, wink. Bad hamstring. Do you believe he had a bad hamstring?
We will see very soon.
if he plays and he didn't, if I were the Raiders, I'd be angry about it. Really, if I was a player on that team. And I would say something to him if I was.
What do you think of this matchup with the Rams laying a full touchdown and PAT here at home?
Well, the Rams are coming off their bye, and they need it as much as any team in the league. They've had so many injuries across the board. It's really crippled them. I think they'll find a way here to get back on track. They're getting guys back. The offensive line's getting healthier. Sean McVay is a great play caller, great coach, and I think they'll be able to move the football on the Raiders. I'll take the Rams.
Yeah, they got the quarterback scales, they've got the coach scales, and they've got that defensive front. The Rams have been getting after people with their defensive line. Give me the Rams. I don't care if it's 6 plus an extra point try. It's going to be more than that.
See, week 7, he's already doing the scales.
He's learning, Pete.
Rock'em sock'em
He's learning.
robots, Pete. But look at his record. It was 12-3. I'm going with that.
When one quarterback's really good, you go boom like this with the scales.
You got to flop it.
Finally, at 4:25, you get a Super Bowl rematch between the Chiefs and the 49ers. The 10th time after we've seen a Super Bowl, we've had a rematch in the regular season. I'm going to throw out, you guys are going to give a pick, but Pete, you have the Vikings going up against the Lions, the Chiefs going up against the 49ers, the Chiefs and the Vikings, the only 2 undefeated teams. If there were to be one of these teams to lose this weekend, who would it be?
The Chiefs, but I don't think they will.
Okay.
Look, the 49ers have issues. We've seen them across the board all year long. They haven't been the same defense, and I know they were better against Seattle, but they haven't been the same defense. The Chiefs are coming off a bye. I think that helps them, although, you know, when you look at the 49ers, they were rested because they played on a Thursday night against Seattle. But I just think the Chiefs, for all the talk about they're not the same team, they're not this, they're not that, they're still really good on defense, and I still think Mahomes can make plays when he has to, and Andy Reid's arguably the best play caller in the league. I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yeah, I like the guys on the outside in the secondary for Kansas City. They're going to do a good job limiting some of those weapons. And then the real matchup that I'm looking at, it's 2 all-pro level players. Obviously, Chris Jones is going to be a Hall of Famer, but rookie Dominic Puni at the right guard spot going against Chris Jones, that's going to be the story of the game. Can they get Dominic confident and shooting his shot against Chris Jones? Because we know Chris will ruin games, but I'm not going to pick the San Francisco 49ers against my Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs, keep this thing rolling another week, and they may be looking at the only undefeated team in the league after this week.
They are the first team since 1990 to start 5-0 after back-to-back titles. You remember that 1990 49ers team, Pete? What kept that team from a three-peat, which is what the Chiefs are trying to do?
Was it the Giants?
Just saying. They had Joe Montana.
Well, and
they were rolling.
They had just put on the year before. That was one of the greatest teams ever. The '89 49ers team. They put 55 on the Broncos in the Super Bowl. So,
Pete, I'm going quarterback scales here. Brock Purdy over game manager Patrick Mahomes.
Don't be stupid.
But then you got to weigh staff as well.
But, you know, we could stop.
I'm rolling 9.
Let's stop the game manager stuff.
What do you mean?
Both of those two, by the way.
Isn't it official that Mahomes is a game manager?
Well, Leger said he was. So
I've started to hear it from more people, haven't you, Kyle?
Don't you point at me. Don't you point at me.
Did we talk about when Chris called Matt Ryan a game manager?
Well, I didn't call him that. I just asked him if he had ever been called a
Patrick
game manager.
Mahomes is a roster improver. He makes every single guy around him better. Everybody elevates their game. When you walk in that locker room, you say, that is the best player on the face of the earth. I have to get my stuff in order. That's why we see guys like Juju Smith-Schuster come off the bench and have a $125, a $130. All these guys are ready to play for Patrick.
He's a win because of quarterback. There are only a handful of them. But you know what? Brock Purdy is moving into being a win because of quarterback.
Yep.
He's improved that that much as a quarterback.
We did have the question yesterday on the show, should the 49ers draft a quarterback
Hell
next
no.
year? All right, hell no, that's the answer.
Who asked that question?
Not shockingly, producer Noah.
I knew it was Noah.
That's
Not
moronic.
shockingly, producer Noah.
It's time for our best bets. Kyle Long continues to kill it, 5-1. Pete and I are 3-3. The producers finally got one right last week. Amanda is going to get her first pick.
I am. I'm excited.
By the way, I think people all over the country are going to flock to your pick now that you're 5-1. You're going to have to start giving out key releases and stuff like that.
I don't know if I'm ready for that. I just do the picks.
So I don't know what yours is, and I can't remember because, you know, we're 36 minutes into the show. So I'm going to go first.
Yep.
Because I initially heard, give me your best bet, and I heard bold prediction, but I'm just going to stick with it here. Lions upsetting the Vikings.
Oh, you're going Lions money line.
Money
Yeah.
line. Wow.
Okay, so if they cover and they don't win, that's a loss for Amanda.
Yeah,
Jack.
that's
Just
fine.
keep that in mind.
I'm good Lions money line.
Lions money line. What do
I
you guys-
forget what the line
you guys,
was.
You went with the Vikings, I
Got the
know.
Vikings.
I got the Bengals -6.5 against the Cleveland Browns.
That's your best bet?
That's my best bet.
But he picked the Vikings. You picked the Vikings in the Lions game, too?
Pick the Lions.
Yeah. So we're on. So it's you.
Okay.
He's with you. I have my best bet is one of the over-unders. I won one last week, so I'm going to stick to it. I'm going over in the Falcons game. I think Seattle and Atlanta will get both.
Not the Commanders game.
No, I think both those teams are going to get into the 30s.
Loose.
And I think you lose.
Capital L.
Big L. And so I'll take that as my best
The
bet.
loose meat sandwich,
So-
loose play of the
you know
day,
what?
huh?
So you know what? Again, I say this all the time. When it's 7-3 in the third quarter,
Yeah.
then everybody can complain. Because I'll be sitting there going, I knew it. I knew it was going to be a low-scoring game.
The producers are going to go with, what would you say, Jack? Texans, Packers, over. So they think that's getting loose. 47.5 in that one. What do you guys think of that play?
I like that one, too.
Okay.
I like that one.
So I haven't given mine out yet. I want to preface this by saying I had the worst lock in history last week. I had the Cowboys at home +3 against the Lions.
How do you recover?
That's gotta
Only
be the
missed it
worst
by
of the
36
season.
points.
How do you recover from that?
I'm going to try by going quarterback scales. Brock Purdy over Patrick Mahomes. 49ers
Wow.
against the Chiefs.
You really went with the scale.
Yeah, I think Brock Purdy's a
To
better
cover
quarterback
or
than
money
Patrick
line?
Mahomes. I'm kidding, but
Oh,
I
no,
do
wait,
like
they
the
were
49ers to
never
win this
mind.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. The 49ers could win that game.
Chiefs are due for a loss. Come on, they've been flirting with it all year.
They just keep finding new ways to
49ers
win.
need that
I just
signature
wanna,
statement
I just want to
win.
warn everybody out there this week, there could be a derailment.
A Kyle
What do you mean?
derailment?
What do you mean?
The bullet train has been going way too fast. It could be a
Got to
derailment.
slow down for coffee.
Pete, why do you, because you like the over in the Seahawks-Falcons, you don't get the logo. You get the FanDuel logo because Pete's picks are presented by FanDuel. We got to get Kyle a sponsor for his picks since he's the one who gets
getting
them
better
right.
picks.
I like where I'm at. Let's not change it.
He didn't spend much time on it. I think it was 4.5 seconds that Kyle spent on his Bengals -6.5 pick at Cleveland. That's the one you should follow.